People are asking deeply personal, vulnerable, and sometimes really high-stake questions with ChatGPT. And OpenAI knows that, which is why I think they're starting with such heavy guardrails. And they honestly really need to, because this is a bit of a tightrope walk, like in the realm of digital advertising, because ChatGPT is already so divisive. Last week, I sent out an email to both my email lists. I have two email lists. One of them is my digital ads newsletter. The other one is called Another Dimension. It's for business, more so in general, combines a bunch of things. And I sent out this email to both of my email lists announcing that ChatGPT would be releasing ads this year. And then in the news this past week, we have found out that it is officially happening already. ChatGPT is entering the advertising arena, or ChatGPT is entering the ads chat, literally. Now let's talk about what this actually means and why it matters for advertisers, whether you are somebody who is already using digital ads or somebody who isn't yet, but is thinking about using them either now or in the future. OpenAI announced that it's going to begin testing ads inside ChatGPT for free and Go users in the US in the coming weeks. And yes, those ads are going to be based on what people are actively talking about. So this Go plan is also something that's new. This is an $8 a month plan. And so their plan, OpenAI's plan, is to have these ads on the free plan and the Go plan. Okay. The Pro, Plus, Business, and Enterprise plans are going to be staying ad free. This is what they've said. Ads are going to appear at the bottom of the ChatGPT conversations. They're going to be contextually relevant to the topic being discussed. And ads will not influence ChatGPT's answers, or answer independence is what they're saying. Now, they're also saying that users will be able to dismiss ads, see why they're being shown, and turn off personalization. There'll be no ads for users under 18 and no ads tied to sensitive topics like health, mental health, or politics. So it sounds like OpenAI is trying real hard not to light the trust bridge on fire on day one, which I don't blame them. They have to be really careful with this. But whether that balance holds long term will be another question. So in case you're wondering, this was always going to be in the cards for OpenAI and ChatGPT. They didn't just wake up one morning and think, you know what would be fun? Ads. This is about money. A lot of it. And nearly any platform like this eventually ends up going this way. OpenAI is valuated north of 500 billion, at least that's what's reported. And so OpenAI needs multiple huge revenue streams. And subscriptions alone were honestly never going to cut it for what these guys are doing and after. Advertising was always going to be in the picture. And strategically, from a business sense, this move does two things at once. So it creates a brand new ad channel with ridiculously high intent. And it also nudges people towards paid tiers, higher paid tiers, to avoid ads entirely, which some people will do. It's very strategic all around. And if this sounds familiar, you know, you've seen it before. You've lived through the internet before. We've all seen this before. Now, ChatGPT ads are not going to be just another ads platform. And I think as advertisers, we really need to be paying attention to this, because unlike Meta or YouTube, users aren't just watching and scrolling casually. They're actively engaged with ChatGPT, right? They're actively asking specific questions like, what should I use? Or how do I do this? Or what's the best option for? And that's real bottom of funnel intent, like the most bottom of bottom funnel intent, you know? And if OpenAI does get this right, hopefully the ads won't feel like interruptions. I think that they will probably feel like suggestions that are showing up at potentially the right moment. Now, whether users actually take these suggestions seriously is another question. I don't know about you, but when I search Google and I see the sponsored results, I do notice them and I do put weight on them, but I also don't value them as much as organic results, right? If I know that something is being paid to be placed there, then automatically I'm going to be a little more critical of it. I'm like that on Amazon too. If I ever have to get anything from Amazon, I try not to buy on Amazon too much, but when I do really need something on Amazon and I see that there's sponsored results, I am far less likely to just automatically trust that. So this is what we really are going to be looking at. It's going to be that very similar effect when we see Amazon search results or we see Google search results. However, the main difference here is that based on how ChatGPT works, we are going to be potentially looking at most specific and hyper relevant ads delivery yet, depending on what OpenAI ends up allowing its ad delivery system to use. I mean, it's all going to be AI, right? There's nobody actually deciding which ads you're going to see. It's all AI. But it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that side of it. And with that comes up the conversation of this trust, right? Because people are asking deeply personal, vulnerable, and sometimes really high stake questions with ChatGPT. And OpenAI knows that, which is why I think they're starting with such heavy guardrails, and they honestly really need to, because this is a bit of a tightrope walk, like in the realm of digital advertising, because ChatGPT is already so divisive. AI is already so divisive. And with this, they can make one wrong move and a whole bunch of users will revolt. They could show too many ads and the experience degrades, right? Then they're jeopardizing their user base. Too much targeting, this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, it really depends, right? This is going to be a fine line, but with too much targeting based on personalization, it could feel really invasive, right? Like it could feel real creepy. It's almost like sometimes when you're chatting with ChatGPT, it just feels like it's you and, the chat. But when you start having ads served, it makes you wonder, well, where has all this information gone and how is it being interpreted? I mean, it's all AI, it's being scrambled, whatever, but still, right? There's a little bit about that doesn't feel great, You really are the product. Like we talk about before how on Meta and Instagram and all this, like the user is the product, right? The user base is what allows it to make money. And with ChatGPT, we really become the product with ads, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they walk that line. And then the other thing too is on the reverse, if they don't match the ads well enough, if the ads delivery is really light on personalization in terms of which ads they're showing, then the credibility erodes, right? The ads just become this annoyance that nobody's ever going to look at and whatever. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We've seen this movie with every major platform. And I think the biggest difference is that with ChatGPT, you are the product like never before. The user is the product like never before. And the product essentially goes even deeper there because the product is the relationship that the user has with ChatGPT, which is really delicate. It's quite delicate. So, all right, all this being said, if you are an advertiser, or maybe you are running a marketing team and you manage advertisers, or perhaps you are considering getting into advertising, this is the kind of stuff that you should start to be thinking about. First of all, you can't run ChatGPT ads just yet, okay? Just so you know. Only testers have access to this so far. But this isn't really like a wait and see kind of moment, I feel. Like this is going to be really big. So if you are somebody who wants to start thinking about it, here's what to do. First of all, I want you to pay attention to how your brand shows up organically on ChatGPT, okay? So is ChatGPT already mentioning you or not? That is something to pay attention to, okay? Answer engine optimization is really becoming a thing, or some people call this generative engine optimization. Look into it. Super important if you haven't been going down that route already. Start thinking a little bit about what your creative might look like for ChatGPT ads. It's not going to be image first, right? These ads will probably not be image first. They're not going to be scroll stopping per se. It's going to be more conversational, context driven. You cannot go with a hard sell. Okay. So you really have to rethink how you are writing ads. Okay. It's got to feel real conversational. And in the style of ChatGPT, right? So that'll be really interesting. Next up, please don't pull budget from Meta. Okay. Meta is absolutely still elite across the full funnel when it comes to advertising. I absolutely believe that. It's really great for top, middle, and bottom of the ads funnel, of the marketing funnel, unlike any other platform, in my opinion. I think Google kind of sucks for top of funnel. It's great for middle and bottom. TikTok kind of sucks for bottom, but it's great for top. ChatGPT is going to be really great for the bottom. It will not be a top of funnel channel. Okay. So ChatGPT is going to be like a complementary channel. It's not going to be a replacement. So keep that in mind. And then plan to test, but not to scale. This is something where we don't really know what this is going to look like yet. I mean, we don't even know what the interface is going to look like either on the back end. I was invited to test this and I didn't get back to them quickly enough to be part of the test group. And I really regret that. I really should have made sure that I replied and got my foot in there and was able to kind of see the back end. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to see it yet. I will, of course, keep all of you updated as I get into it. But yeah, I think this is going to be something where you don't want to plan to go all in on it. You really are going to have to wait and kind of see. But I do think that if you are somebody who is open to ChatGPT and you're not totally against ChatGPT, then I think you should plan to test and set aside some budget for that, okay? So that's kind of my recommendation as of right now. I'm not like revolting against it. I'm not all in. I'm just trying to provide all sides for you guys to really determine how you feel about it. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is going to be like a huge change for AI and advertising. And as advertisers, these ads could become one of the most intent-rich placements we've ever had access to, truly. Or they could become a cautionary tale in how quickly trust can be monetized into oblivion. It's going to be really fascinating to see how they do this and how they actually roll this out. I think realistically, like most things, though, it's probably going to land somewhere in the middle. And overall, I will say that the advertisers who start paying attention now will be miles ahead of the ones who wait until everyone's already in on the game, and then the cost to show the ads goes way up. You know the drill, right? If you're already in ads, you know the drill with CPMs, right? Our CPM, cost to show the ads to 1,000 impressions, goes through the roof at the busiest times of the year, right? And so when people are new to advertising on a platform, those CPMs are going to be so low. So I will say, if you are an advertiser, I would be thinking about this sooner than later. And I will be watching very closely, and I'll, of course, keep you in the loop. Alrighty, if you have a strong opinion on ChatGPT ads already, I want you to let me know, okay? If you're listening to this on a channel that allows comments, scroll down, leave a comment, please. Like, let's have a discussion around this. Be really curious to hear what you're feeling about this. You can also hit me up on Instagram. The account that I'm on the most is CJ Dimmock, so CJDIMMOCK. If you want to share some thoughts with me over there, I would absolutely love to hear them.